motherfuckers, this is not a child-friendly channel. If you are 13 or younger, please get out, because otherwise I'm going to go to jail. And I, CatMik, would very much not like to go to jail. Okay, so stop me if you've heard this one before. You're a cute boy protagonist. Hold it! Ha ha ha. You're a cute boy protagonist with a very powerful zombie side in a world full of monster girls of the lewd and ravenous kind. You have to face tremendous challenges and defeat the enemy with nothing but your superior skill and quick thinking. If you lose, you get ooed so many times that you lose 20 times your body weight in semen or get eaten alive. Possibly both. And if you wanna stop here and say, wait, Nick, you've done this before. Demon Angel Sakura and Forest of the Blue Skin, which you have reviewed previously in a pair of great videos that made me wanna subscribe, both fit that criteria. Well, you're wrong, because from now on, it's 3 videos with the addition of Monster Girl Quest to the roster. But why bother with this one? Well, a friend of mine is a fan, and I heard you can get eaten in it, so on my never-ending quest to uncover lewd stuff that I like, I decided to give this game a shot. It's a different genre, being a visual novel RPG instead of a platformer. So, how is Monster Girl Quest? Well, you're gonna be surprised, but at first, I kinda disliked it. But after playing it, I love it. Why the shift in perspectives? We'll get to that, but let's start at the beginning. You wake up. Your name is Luka, a normal boy living in a desolate village with a temple. In this temple, you hope to be blessed as a hero, and set out on a journey to defeat the Monster Lord so you can usher in an era of coexistence, where humans and monsters can live together in harmony, without the fear of being trampled or violently ooed. But, one slime girl attack later, you get too distracted by both that and the comet in the woods to actually receive the blessing. You arrive too late. Undeterred, Luka sets out regardless, even though the journey will be a lot more difficult now that he doesn't have Goddess Ilia's protection. Why does that matter? Well, the protection works to some extent. We certainly know the goddess is real because in the very first scene of the game, you wake up to see her in a dream. And if you ignore her, she just smites you with Mother Bitch and Lightning. So naturally, you're gonna be attacked by just about every monster girl you come across, with only your dinky little iron sword to protect you. It's not very effective. However, you're not alone. Sort of. This is Alice, a traveling gourmet and a mage who gives you a non-lethal weapon to defend yourself with. The Angel Halo Sword, which seals monsters into harmless creatures instead of killing them. As useful as it is to Luka and as grateful as he is to Alice, she won't actually help you in the fight directly, for her own reasons. But since you helped her after the comet fell, she's willing to repay you the favor by training you. In the wild, she looks like a Lamia in order not to draw unwanted monster girl attention to herself, or opts to straight up hide to avoid confrontation. Every now and then, when you camp, she teaches Luka a new skill. Much to his chagrin, because they always have some sort of terrifying history behind them. And they aren't very heroic, which is fitting for the unbaptized fake hero Luka, who nonetheless wants to be a hero through his actions. It sets up an interesting character dynamic for him, as he has to overcome his inner image of a hero in bright and shining armor that draws attention from everyone, and he has to become this suave, humble figure, but nonetheless willing and able to help. Simultaneously, he faces a moral dilemma of following his own dream versus following Ilias's commandments, such as a prohibition against having any sort of sexual activity with monster kind. It actually highlights the necessity of monster girl on human sex due to the inherent lack of any sort of futa or male monsters out there. Without monster males, monster girls are forced to woo human males either by consent or by force, unless they wanna die out. And with Elias's prohibition in place, I guess you can see where this is going. This is the centerpiece of the conflict in the Happy Village, where harpies routinely kidnap human males from the nearby Happiness Village to be used as breeding implements. Luka sees the harpies as aggressors that he has to fend off, so he sets out to seal the Harpy Queen. He manages to subdue her with the Angel Halo and is about to land the sealing blow when he's stopped by the very man the harpies have kidnapped. Things get awkward, but it turns out that the men hold no grudge against the harpies and some even have loving relationships with them, so a vast majority of them remained imprisoned willingly. So the two villages reconcile and make a compromise, all thanks to Luka. It's a great first step towards fulfilling his dream of a world of coexistence. However, not everyone shares this dream. On the human side, you have Ilenaeus Carus, who... seriously, Mick, Ilenaeus? Well, that's staying in the village as a flub. Ilias Karus who believe humans and monsters simply cannot coexist, both to the violent tendencies exhibited by the monster girls, as well as the Ilias' commandments being interpreted as a prohibition of any form of contact, both physical and verbal, let alone sexual, which leads them to do violent things like setting off bombs at a town filled with monsters and humans. On the monster side, we got the 4 Heavenly Knights, a cabal of elementally coded elites under the Monster Lord's command. Their presence looms over the 3 continents the game takes place in, and you have to face the strongest of them, Granberria the legendary Dragon Swordsman, as essentially your very first boss fight. She has attacked the town of Iliasburg and single-handedly defeated every guard stationed there, leaving Luka as the only person who can stand up to her. He's barely gotten any training or skills, but unwilling to back down, this doomed little brave fake hero stands up to Granberria, even though she could bring him down with a single backhand of her scaly wrist. Luka, with his knees clicking like a pair of maracas, musters up the courage he has to overcome his fear and bank everything on the single skill Alice has taught him. It's the only thing he's got that can even scratch her, so he jumps in, desperately using Demon Decapitation! Granberria simply sidesteps out of the way. But she is nonetheless impressed. Alice decides to intervene and it turns out the 2 of them are friends. At Alice's request, Granberria retreats, and Luka is hailed as a hero! It's at this point that I got hooked and decided to keep playing, and I haven't even been eaten once! Things just get better from this point onwards, except for the bit that I get eaten. You see, I really don't care for the Vore in this game. Not that I haven't tried it. I found it not too much later, but I simply didn't like it. When you're, as in Luka's ass, gets knocked down to the ground or he's uwooed so hard that he ejaculates, he proceeds to get hate-scened so many times that he ejaculates several times. The preceding hate scenes have a very large focus on the pingas and what it feels to have it interacted with it. And I don't care for that one bit. So it's unfortunate to me that most of the scenes where you do get eaten still focus on the deck. It's like the monsters need you to blow your load before they even start considering digesting you, as if your semen doesn't matter until you shoot it out first. By the way, the number of erotic tropes that lines up between these 3 games makes me think I accidentally stumbled onto some sort of genre. But one I haven't chosen deliberately. My primary reason for playing this was actually my penchant for getting eaten, and a desire to experience a classical-esque RPG. I did get the Vore that I wanted in a fan mod, which starred a female protagonist and focused exclusively on Vore, thus avoiding the general pitfall and giving me some nice digestion scenes, but I only discovered that after beating the main game. Not that I needed the Vore in the main game at any point, the story was captivating and the gameplay was fun, forcing you to carefully decide what to do at what time, as it was a tight contest of battles of attrition. The enemies have a few tricks up their sleeves too, ranging from charged attacks that you need to defend yourself from, baiting you into attacking them while they're in a counter state, decoy spawns, a lot of different weapons. Sometimes though you just got to go all out and spend your skill points as fast as you can. Later battles also involve elemental rock paper scissors when you need to choose how to best protect yourself with enhanced defenses or better dodge. And there are some battles that can be avoided because the monster girl hasn't seen you yet, isn't actually hostile, or because you managed to roll 20 on diplomacy. This is just an idiom. Dice aren't actually involved. There are very few random elements here, maybe except for the AI roulette, but the attacks seem to be throttled by a similar AP system to yours, so you simply won't be getting hit by the monster girl's strongest attacks constantly, even if you're unlucky. All in all, most of the time, there's more puzzle to the fight than there is chance. And if you need help, Ilias will offer counseling in the form of evaluation. You can try each battle as many times as you need. They tend to drag on sometimes, but you can enable auto-advancing to make them go at a steady pace, or you can leave it off and just hold the damn confirm button, and it goes ridiculously quickly. But that means you're prone to possibly missing dialogue that will warn you about an incoming one-hit KO. There's usually a visual cue to go with that, so it's not really unfair. So, do I recommend Monmusu Quest? Absolutely! Even if you're not in it for the loots, it's still a fun RPG with a diverse array of tones, biomes, fetishes and challenges to discover. And the people you interact with are endearing, hilarious and relatable. Nearly everyone you come across is at least somewhat interesting, and a lot of the characters either undergo development themselves or help Luka in his journey of self-discovery. But are there any problems with the game? Well, yeah, nothing major, but worth mentioning is that sometimes victory comes down to a coin flip of do I struggle out of this bind or do I attack to knock the enemy off? Once you know, it's not a problem, but occasionally it comes down to, well, you getting lucky with the answer. However, there is a pattern to it. If the enemy is not literally about to ooh-woo you by forcing your pingas inside them, struggle. The music can also get somewhat repetitive after a while, but aside from that, the gameplay and story are good enough that I don't think the game suffers from any major problems. Perhaps you could say that a few characters go to waste, but the game mainly avoids that. There are no major hiccups that I can think of. Right, let's talk about the elephant in the room. You know the 3,000-year-old Lolita trope? Well, this game features several, but they're basically treated as smaller adults, even though they're named with things like Tiny and Pop. And as far as I'm aware, their canonical ages are never listed or mentioned, but they still ooh you to death. And since they're monsters, this is fine with me, because it's natural for them to be like this. The elephant is actually right here. This quest where you gotta help a mermaid marry a human boyfriend of hers, whose growth was magically stunted by her, thus causing him to stop aging at what looks to be around 10 to 14 years old. At this range, his brain can be very susceptible to influence, meaning he's going to develop some very serious issues with the ability to create relationships later in life. It's only given like 3 lines worth of attention in the game, so I just sailed past it, but I'm gonna stop talking about this now. In fact, I'm gonna stop the video right here. No outro or interaction reminder, I'm just gonna go. Thank you for watching, everyone.